There's a moment that almost nobody talks about. The moment after the congratulations, after the handshake, after the announcement, after the messages start arriving, after everyone tells you that you should be proud. The promotion finally comes. The thing you worked for. The thing you imagined would change everything. And for a few hours, maybe a few days, it feels exactly the way you thought it would. Then something strange happens. Life continues. The alarm still rings. The emails still arrive. The meetings still fill the calendar. The traffic still exists. The anxiety still wakes up beside you. And somewhere between the excitement and the routine, a quiet question begins to emerge. If this was supposed to feel different, why'd I still feel the same? Most people don't notice when their relationship with success begins to change. It happens gradually, almost invisibly. One promotion, then another, a slightly bigger office, a better title, a higher salary, a few more responsibilities, a little less time, a little more pressure. The strange thing is that modern achievement rarely feels like arrival. It feels like acceleration. The moment you reach one destination, another appears, and another, and another. The finish line keeps moving. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, the human tendency to quickly normalize positive changes. The brain is remarkably efficient at turning extraordinary things into ordinary things. The first promotion feels unforgettable. The second becomes expected. The third becomes necessary. Eventually, what once felt like a dream begins to feel like maintenance. You stop chasing more because you want more. You start chasing more because standing still feels dangerous. And that changes something deep inside a person. Because promotions aren't simply professional events. They're psychological transformations. Each one subtly alters how you see yourself and how other people see you. At first, the changes seem harmless. People respect your opinion more. Your responsibilities increase. You gain influence. Your decisions matter. You feel valuable, needed, important. But every increase in status comes with an invisible exchange. Responsibility expands faster than recognition. Expectations rise faster than confidence. Pressure grows faster than meaning. The higher someone climbs, the less room they often feel they have to be uncertain. And uncertainty never disappears. It simply goes underground. Many people imagine confidence as a reward for success, but often the opposite happens. The more responsibility someone carries, the more aware they become of everything they don't know. The promotion doesn't eliminate doubt. It introduces new forms of it. Can I handle this? Do I deserve this? What if everyone realizes I'm not as capable as they think? What if I've already reached my limit? These questions rarely appear in performance reviews, but they live quietly inside conference rooms, inside late-night laptop screens, inside long commutes home. Success often increases visibility, and visibility increases vulnerability, because now there is more to lose, more expectations to satisfy, more identities to maintain. And modern life has a way of turning identities into performances. At some point, the title becomes more than a title. It becomes a version of yourself, a character you continuously reinforce. The manager, the director, the executive, the leader, the high performer, the reliable one, the successful one. The problem begins when you spend so much time becoming someone that you forget how to simply be someone. You stop asking who you are. You start asking who you're supposed to be. And the difference between those two questions is larger than most people realize. The digital age makes this even harder, because promotions no longer happen in private. Achievements become content. Milestones become announcements. Career updates become personal branding. Every accomplishment is instantly visible, instantly measurable, instantly comparable. The moment success enters social media, it stops being a personal experience. It becomes a social signal. And social signals have a strange effect on the brain. They create temporary validation while increasing long-term comparison. Someone receives a promotion, then sees another person receiving a bigger one. Someone gets a raise, then discovers another person earning more. Someone becomes a manager, then sees someone younger becoming a vice president. Comparison has always existed, but never at this scale, Never this frequently. Never this intimately. The human brain evolved in small communities, not global networks containing millions of carefully curated lives. Yet every day people expose themselves to endless streams of achievement, endless evidence that someone else appears to be moving faster, winning bigger, living better. The result isn't inspiration. Not always. Sometimes it's exhaustion, because no matter how much progress you make, there's always another person further ahead. And if your identity becomes attached to progress, you become trapped in a race with no finish line. This creates one of the great contradictions of modern success. People spend years pursuing promotions to improve their lives, then discover they have built lives that leave little room to enjoy them. More responsibility often means less freedom. More income often means more commitments. More status often means less privacy. The rewards are real, but so are the costs. And many of those costs are emotional. Loneliness, for example. Nobody talks enough about loneliness at higher levels of responsibility. As careers advance, relationships often become more complicated. Conversations become more filtered. Feedback becomes more political. Trust becomes harder to identify. The higher someone climbs within an organization, the fewer peers they often feel they have, the fewer places they can speak honestly, the fewer moments they can stop performing competence. Humans were never designed to carry constant social masks. Yet modern professional culture often rewards exactly that. Appear confident, appear composed, appear productive, appear successful, appear in control. Even when none of those things feel true, the gap between appearance and reality slowly expands. And maintaining that gap requires energy, a lot of energy. This is where emotional numbness begins to emerge, not because people stop feeling, but because they become overwhelmed by feeling. The nervous system adapts. It protects itself. It reduces emotional intensity. Excitement becomes muted. Relief becomes temporary. Joy becomes brief. Even major accomplishments start feeling strangely distant, not because they aren't meaningful, but because the brain is busy managing chronic stress. Neuroscientists have found that prolonged stress changes the way attention functions. The mind becomes increasingly focused on threats, deadlines, risks, problems, future uncertainties. The survival system becomes louder. The appreciation system becomes quieter. People begin achieving things they once desperately wanted, yet feel unable to experience them fully. Success arrives, but emotional presence does not. And perhaps this is why so many people feel confused by their own lives. From the outside, everything appears to be working. The career progresses. The income grows. The title improves. The resume expands. Yet, internally, something feels unfinished. Something feels missing. Not because achievement is meaningless, but because human beings require more than achievement. They require connection, purpose, belonging, authenticity, meaning, things that cannot be promoted into existence. Things that cannot be downloaded. Things that cannot be measured by salary bands or organizational charts. A promotion can change your position. It cannot answer who you are. A promotion can increase your influence. It cannot create intimacy. A promotion can provide security. It cannot guarantee peace. And perhaps that realization is one of adulthood's most difficult lessons. The things society rewards most aggressively are not always the things the human soul needs most deeply. This doesn't mean ambition is wrong. It doesn't mean success is empty. It doesn't mean promotions don't matter. They do matter. They can improve lives, create opportunities, support families, open doors. But problems emerge when success becomes the sole source of identity. Because identities built entirely on achievement are fragile. The moment achievement slows, the identity begins to shake. The moment progress pauses, self-worth becomes uncertain. And eventually, everyone reaches a point where the next promotion cannot solve a deeper question. The question underneath all the goals. The question underneath all the striving. The question waiting quietly behind every accomplishment. Who am I when there is nothing left to prove? Maybe that is the hidden reality of every promotion. Not that it changes your life, but that it reveals what was already there. The fears, the hopes, the insecurities, the ambitions, the loneliness, the longing for meaning. Every new level simply magnifies them. And maybe that isn't a failure. Maybe it's an invitation. An invitation to remember that beneath every title is a person. Beneath every career is a life. Beneath every achievement is a human being trying to understand what makes existence feel worthwhile. Because one day the emails will stop. The meetings will end. The organizational charts will change. Someone else will inherit the title. Someone else will sit in the chair. Someone else will continue the race. And what remains will not be the promotion itself. What remains will be the person you became while pursuing it. The relationships you protected. The moments you noticed. The people you loved. The parts of yourself you refused to abandon. And perhaps the real measure of success was never how high you climbed, but whether, while climbing, you managed to remain human.